All right, family. We black once again. It's on with the general. We got a 5 versus this evening. Battle of the Pyramids. Chichen, Itza versus Saqqara. Man, the battle of the great step pyramids in the world. Saqqara being the pyramid of Zolja, the oldest stone structure on the planet, versus the one of the great pyramids of Mesoamerica. This is gonna be This is gonna be one verses of a lifetime, family. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure you get over to my Patreon. The link is at the top of the chat. Over 500 exclusive live streams that can only be viewed on Patreon. It's that work, family. I want you to get over there and get it. Also, KingSeti.com online marketplace, official General SETI products, DVDs, T-shirts, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry. I had that for you. Get you some fly, get you some hot. It's there for you. Also, you could become a member of General SETI's YouTube page, Sarasu SETI's YouTube page. Unlock access to exclusive videos and material, and get a video a thumbs up, like it, because you'll love it. Share with your family and friends. Comment. Just don't say nothing stupid, because you will get banned. Nah, we got the verses with the gods and goddesses, man. We're gonna pick back up with that tomorrow. It's really a opportunity to learn the facts about the gods, the goddesses, learn the facts about these various wonders of the world, that you wouldn't otherwise, have this information. And so we want you to have it now. Again, this is going to be one hell of a verses, right? Because these is, probably the most world renowned step pyramid, Saqqara and Chichen Itza. Okay, now let's tap into this. Let's tap into the two pyramids, and so we could get some specs. We need to get the official specs on this. Okay, now these pyramids were built 4,000 years apart. Wow. You see, and to the right now, they didn't kind of clean the pyramid of Saqqara up now. Saqqara most definitely is looking much cleaner today, but they didn't have to come along and rebuild the pyramid. They just, they put wherever, because they took some stone off of it anyway, so they put it back. But anyway, these two pyramids are 4,000 years apart. They were totally, built for totally different purposes, but at the same time, there's some similarities that must be spoken of. Now, the step pyramid of Zolja, which is the Kemetic pyramid, to the right, was built around 2630 BC. It's just mind blowing that something can last that long. You know what I'm saying? 26. You're almost talking about close to 3,000 BC. It's already 2,000. So you're talking about 5,000 years. That's almost unbelievable. You see, it was built. It was built for Zolja. You see, it was built. Matter of fact, I got some my slides. I'm gonna bring some up for this particular one, so you can have a view. Okay, here we. Which one is it? Well, you know what? Let me bring this one up. Here it is. Okay. Let me come out a little bit. Okay, there we go. Let me bring this one up. So right there, that's the pyramid of Zolja. 205 feet. 205. You talking about a skyscraper? You know, and here it is, and you know that ain't the beginning. This is not for people. This is not the beginning. Okay, so even in 3000 BC, Egypt is highly advanced even at that time, and so this was built by Imhotep, the master architect. Imhotep built this in the third dynasty for his king Zosha, the Grand Master. The Grand Master. So anybody out there that's talking about masonry and people say they mason, see, I'm not talking about these fake ones. And it is. It is. The ideology is fake because you went to Solomon, you went to Hiram Abiff, you added all of these false elements, and the real masonry started with Imhotep and Zosha. You see all that Solomon and how this is the real one. And when you go to the temple, the Masonic temple in LA, they got all the great, I believe they got the king and they got the Grand Master. They got Solomon, then they got Hiram, but they further, matter of fact, the very first and the highest grouping went to Imhotep and Zosha. This is when masonry started, right here. And this is a grand lodge right here at Saqqara. You see, so the significance of this, it really it's no comparison between, but our peoples brought that science over, and that's why we still honor that. We're not discrediting Chichen Itza, because we know our people's science is what put that there. Okay, we are not at all. So we are honoring both, but this one by far is on the soil. It's on the Holy Land. You feel me? And so we got to give credit what credit is due. And we talking about Imhotep, one of the earliest Christ figures on the planet. This brother was not only an architect, he was a physician, he was an astronomer. He was a poet. They say he is the first recognizable multi-genius that ever existed on planet Earth. Imhotep. You see, his legacy is he's one of the as far as, and he's not a royal. He's an architect. But he was also the Grand Vizier. So he was second in charge. So he's all these things. This man was a multi-genius. You see, and we talk about this period, but people don't even understand that the intricate, labyrinths that's under this pyramid. Nobody talks about, man, it's so elaborate that it's almost more advanced. And for some, it is more advanced than some of the bigger pyramids. That the system of because you got the burial chamber up under the pyramid, so to keep pillagers and plunderers from getting in there and getting access to the burial chamber, they would literally put labyrinths up under there that would take you all everywhere but where you think you going. You see, and so it's all type of tile. And they tell you that certain tile that, that it didn't exist, man. They got all type of ceramic tile down in there, chambers full of, was full of vases, furniture, everything that the Pharaoh would need. Because obviously, Zosha was rich. You see, you can't, and all the Pharaohs had a couple dollars. And I'm just saying it in that sense that, in their own time, they were wealthy. But for you to be able to put something like this together, you had to be filthy rich. So he was mighty, and he came from a royal bloodline that would allow him to, to be able to put something like this together, because the other pharaohs that came right around him, their temple, their pyramids kind of toppled down. I was able to see Teddy's pyramid, and it had toppled down. And you also I went into Una's pyramid, and it wasn't in good shape either. But I believe Una's came in the 5th dynasty. This is actually the 3rd dynasty. So, in that pyramid field of Saqqara, many of the kings, they may not have been, they could have been 3 and 4 and 5 dynasties up, but they would come to whatever particular, pyramid field or pharaohs that they aligned themselves with. They could have been far more ancient than they were, but they would decide where they would put their pyramid, their burial temples and things of that nature, and whatever. And it could be, I think it's up to 11 major pyramid fields that you could have, build your pyramid in. And so, but many of those pyramids at Saqqara have fallen down, and some of them were after Zosia. So that just show you that, everybody, didn't build on the same level. So for him to have been able to build that in the 3rd dynasty, that brother was rich. That brother was rich to be able to do that. And to have these two great, that's why when people say, what dynasty is, was the greatest. And, I kind of combined the 3rd dynasty with the 4th dynasty because, Imhotep and Zosia started the pyramid age. That's why this is the most important pyramid on the planet Earth, period. Even though Khufu was the largest, this is the most important because without this one, you couldn't have the other ones. And I could say that it could be maybe somebody else could have came outside of Imhotep and did it, and but it didn't happen that way. I'm not gonna say he was the only architect that could have built the pyramid, but none was built before him. So obviously he must take the credit for bringing the pyramid age into existence. And so this is the most important pyramid that ever existed on the planet Earth, and he brought it forward. But if you take Zosia and Imhotep, those two great icons alone, and then you take Seneferu, who built, actually he built 2 pyramids. They said he took Huni's pyramid, which is the pyramid of Meidum, which is this pyramid right here, and this one was the one that came right after the pyramid of Imhotep. You see, and what they was trying to do was make it into a true pyramid, because you could see that, the steps have been, well, this is actually the core, but they had, they were trying to smooth the sides out. You know what I'm saying? And obviously they didn't succeed in that because the outer casing ended up falling down. You see, but you can see it's a trial and error at this stage. That's why people keep talking about some damn aliens. No, you can see the trial and error. They're actually failing in the beginning, you see, and then, they come right after that with the bent pyramid. This is the bent pyramid, and it's still a magnificent structure, but it's a reason why it's bent, because they didn't anticipate how heavy this pyramid was, and at the inclination that they had, you could see that the lower 13 stories, the inclination was 54 degrees, but if they would have kept going, it started to crack. So they knew if they would have, stayed on that inclination, it would have collapsed in. So they just cut the inclination to 43 degrees. And from that point, from the original 13 stories, which was 154 feet, they just cut it off. And from that point, the rest of the pyramid, I believe it go up to 341 feet, something like that, 331 feet, something like that. It was at a 43-degree angle. You see, and so again, they did not pull it off like they were supposed to. So, I don't want to say it's a failure, but it's not a true pyramid. It wasn't what they was trying to do. So you can see from Imhotep's step pyramid to the pyramid of Meidum here to the bent pyramid that they are actually failing. It's a trial and error. And finally, Seneferu, he comes along, and he actually he kept the inclination of the top portion of the bent pyramid. He kept it from at 43 degrees. You see, when he started the red pyramid, and he officially built the world's first true pyramid. Period. You see, so, and this is most definitely a wonder of the world. Outside of Khufu, Khafra pyramid, this is the third greatest pyramid on the planet Earth by far. It is the third greatest pyramid on the Earth by far. Okay, this is Khafra's, which is number 2, and that's Menkaure, and this is Khufu's is number 1, and you can't leave Menkaure's out because it looks almost perfect. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, it's perfect. It is not as large, but the fact that it's standing next to these two, you know what I'm saying, is still most definitely in the top 6 or 7 pyramids. All them other pyramids that they got, in Americas, they cannot compete with this pyramid. Only maybe the one at Teotihuacan. So when we talking about the greatest dynasty, if you take Menkaure, which is the 4th dynasty, you take Khafra, you take Khufu, you take Seneferu. You see what I'm saying? You can throw Huni in there now. You can throw him in there now because he didn't finish it, but I'm going to give him credit for starting that pyramid. And then you take Zosia and Imhotep. It would be hard, they could be considered the greatest line of kings in the whole 3,000 years of Kemetic rule. You see what I'm saying? You could argue that point, between the 18th dynasty and the 4th and the 3rd dynasty. You can most definitely argue that they were, some of the greatest, one of the greatest lineages in all of ancient Egypt. Okay, let me get this out of here. I don't even, I didn't want that to stay in there like that. I got that in there blocking. But so, I just did that, and, and I just kind of, Chichen Itza. Let me bring Chichen Itza down here. Now I got to tighten that one up. I didn't really, but I got a nice picture of it. And I've been here myself. Mostly all these pyramids I done seen. Matter of fact, every one of them I done showed you I done seen. And so this is Chichen Itza. Let me get the specs on Chichen Itza. It was just here. What I do with it? Okay, here you go. So Chichen Itza, I believe they're saying it was built between 800 of the Common Era to, they say, 1100 of the Common Era. So I don't know if I don't see why it would have taken them that long to finish that. But they saying that is Mayan Toltec influence. The deity is Kukulkan, which in the Olmecs called Quetzalcoatl, which is the winged serpent. Okay, the feathered serpent. So this was dedicated, and you could see the two, and I'll get it together for you. So I'm gonna tighten all my slides up so you can see it. You'll see the two serpents going up and coming down on the side of the pyramid. You got four sets of steps. Each set of steps is 90 steps, which added up is 365 steps. So of course this is a astronomical observatory, and so you got the two serpents, and as I taught y'all, the serpent is looked at as the returning Christ. He's a Christ figure. Okay, he's a Christ figure. So when you look at the two serpents on the side of the of the pyramid during the solstices, it'll light up. So you'll see, I believe it's the summer solstice. You will see the serpent light up, and it'll come. If you watch it during the day, you will see each part, because the tail is coming from the top, and the heads of the serpents is down on the ground. And so you will see, parts of the tail light up during the day. You see, and I don't know if it's when the sun is about to set. You will see either is each part of the tail, the body of the serpent will light up, and it seems like he's coming down from heaven. You see, and then I believe it's the winter solstice. You'll see it light up, and it'll look like it's going back up. You see, it'll light up from the bottom, and then it'll go back up. And so I get how that actually happened, but you have to be cold-blooded to align any type of structure, anything to the sun, and to get that type of effect, is mind-blowing. You feel me? So it was a ceremonial temple. And so Chichen Itza, Saqqara is 62 meters high, and Chichen Itza was 30 meters. So Saqqara is twice the height of Chichen Itza. And then the volume, Saqqara is 330, I believe is let me see how they measure in that volume. You see, let me see how they measure in that volume. I had to always go back in there and check on that. And then the weight, we'll get back to it. The weight of the pyramid of Saqqara is 800,000 tons. And then you got the Chichen Itza is 3,500 tons. So you can see that Saqqara has twice the mass, and it's unprecedented for its time. And so architectural innovation, first, Saqqara is the first monumental stone architecture on earth, invented the pyramid tradition. Chichen Itza perfected a form that already existed regionally. So as far as Saqqara, innovation beats refinement. So Saqqara is the blueprint. Astronomy and symbolism, Saqqara, stellar afterlife symbolism, imperishable stars, Chichen Itza, solar calendar, 365 steps, equinox, serpent shadow. And so it's in there. And so I had to show y'all that. So based on that, they give it to Chichen Itza, built the astronomical theater. And that was cold-blooded how they did that, real talk. Historical impacts, Saqqara sparked all later Egyptian pyramids, including Giza, Dashur, Nubia, and technically the ones over here too. You see what I'm saying? And wherever else you see them, okay? You know, that's just what it is. And so as far as social organization, Saqqara early centralized state pulling off the impossible for the first time. Chichen Itza advanced urban society integrating ritual, politics, and astronomy. So they give it a draw, you know, as far as getting the necessary people together to pull something off like that. And final scorecard, Saqqara, size and mass, innovation, Saqqara, astronomy. They give the Chichen Itza historical impact, they give to Saqqara, and cultural sophistication, they give it a draw. So the overall winner, the pyramid of Saqqara, is the winner because Saqqara did it first. No precedent, no earlier stone tradition, no architectural roadmap. It turned mud brick mastabas into the first stone mountain on earth. You see, so you got to give, you know, but we give both honor where it's due. Saqqara, the birth of monumental architecture. Chichen Itza, the peak of ritual astronomical design. You see, astronomical design. So there it is, family. We'll give, we'll give Black Power to all my family out there. Appreciate y'all being in the house. We doing something unprecedented here, family. We are elevating over here. Black Power. Peace, God. Yeah, Black Power. We in the house. And so I appreciate y'all being here today with me. Make sure y'all get over to Patreon. Make sure you like the video. Give it a thumbs up. And family, I'll see y'all earlier, today. I'll see you earlier today. We got one on cue, but we'll do that one a little later today. Appreciate y'all. Black Power.